Well guys, got a bit of a video for us tonight. Well, I guess you could call this video part one of the whole garage renovation project. In this video, we will go through the preparations for the garage reno. I guess you could call it the preparations for the beginning of the garage reno, and the plans for the garage reno. Just to give my viewers an idea of all my ramblings, everything I'm talking about, you know, I'd like to try to make sense of so everybody understands. That's been one of the things. I'll have something in my head and I'll know exactly what I'm meaning, what I'm talking about, what I'm building, what I'm planning out. And the thing is, I never put nothing, or very seldom do I ever put anything on paper, you know, and very seldom do I ever put anything on paper. So everything is built and measured out and planned in my head. And people around me think I'm crazy. They think I'm insane because I make very little to no sense at all when I'm talking about things and when I'm building and stuff like that. But when it's done, it's exactly the way I got it in my head, and it's pretty close to being 100% the way she should be. So what I'm going to do, for one, take a few before photos, just so I can kind of do a before and after thing. And two, as well, kind of give you guys a bit of a once-over, just to show you what I'm talking about. Well, of course, for those of you that have watched my shop night videos, as well as some of my project videos, the majority of them took place around my shop or garage here. Well, of course, in this garage, I don't use it to park a car in. I've never actually had a vehicle in it that I wasn't working on overnight, you know. I've never had a vehicle parked in it just to have it in it, you know, unless I was working on it. But I've done projects in here. I've done trailer builds in here. I've done welding projects. In my early years, like after recently buying this house, I did a few welding projects in it. But since then, it's had a little, but not a lot. Whatever it was, 7 years ago or so, when shortly after moving into this house, I did some insulating and sheeting. As you see, all this OSB wasn't up, and behind the OSB is you know, vapor barrier and Roxol, I believe it's R14 or something like that, bat insulation. And I did a little bit of you know, work on the ceiling with the plywood or the OSB, and then I pretty much stopped, you know, like as you see, what you see is where I stopped, you know. I didn't finish the garage project back then, 7 years ago, you know. I just kind of left it the way it was. Part of the reason is because I just kind of went another direction, kind of got away from the whole you know, working in your garage, building in your garage, and kind of went a different direction. And, you know, kind of just a change in life, if you will. But, you know, kind of, we're going to get back to basics, if we were back to kind of where, you know, where, but guys, of course, kind of back to the point of the story, if you will, what my plans are. Of course, I have the tool room here with all my tools in it, and in the other 3/4 or so of the garage I have an actual workspace. Now this is a double stall garage, but it's only as wide as a single vehicle, but it's double car long. Now of course, when I bought this house, there was 2 full-size vehicles parked in this garage. So this garage will hold 2 full-size trucks, you know. I've never had either of my vehicles ever in here. I've had a couple of the older ones in here while I was working on them, but never any of the ones I have currently. So I'm assuming they'll fit, but I've never tried. But what I'm wanting to do is to build a wall for the tool room. If you notice here on the floor, you see that seam kind of right about there. You see a seam in the concrete. Well, that was where sometime in this garage's life, somebody had blown out the back wall here, pushed it back, whatever this is, 10 feet, and you know, basically put an addition on the garage. And of course it is the rafters up on the walls are studded right. The rafters are a little over center to what I'd like them to be, but hey, you know, probably was building code back you know, when the house was built, right? But other than that, the garage itself doesn't really have any rot in the walls, doesn't have any rot in the sheeting. A couple of the rafters on the far end in the eave area are a little bit soft, but you know, right now they're not leaking by far, and they're not showing any signs of collapsing. So, and it's not in the structural area of the roof; it's just in the corners of the eaves. Right here along that seam, I'm thinking about putting a wall right there at that seam, making myself a work area for like the workshop, which when I'm out here working, this is what I will be heating, is that area there. And then of course the so-called tool room will leave to be unheated, or whatever heat migrates in there from having the door open from the heated work area. That's pretty much the only heat that's going to be in the tool area. Now, I'm not 100% sure how far I'm going to take the whole ceiling or whole roof. What I have noticed over the years is the OSB, of course, being heavy and being these rafters are a little bit overspanned to what I think they should be. This camera's probably not picking it up, but if you notice, the OSB kind of has a bit of a droop to it. It's kind of sagged, right? So what I'm debating on doing is taking the OSB down and either and putting other supports in the ceiling, not so much new roof rafters or anything extreme like that, but just putting better ceiling support in it, and then putting the OSB back up. And of course, as a bonus, while it's down, I can do proper insulating up there, because when I built this thing, I just broke apart one of them cellulose bags of insulation, kind of just spread it around up there, because as I built every 8-foot section, I put another bag up there. Of course, it didn't cover much by far, and there's probably only about 2 inches of insulation. So plus as well, if I do drop the ceiling, I can put proper lighting in here, more incandescent fixtures, as well as a couple of rows of fluorescent fixtures, so I can shoot in here without it being too dark. There are times where the video shows up a bit dark because of the lack of light in the garage here. Pretty much I'll be running new, what I'm hoping to do is new electrical, adding a few more plugins. Like on this garage here, this whole wall, there isn't a single plugin. And in this whole garage, there's only 2 plugins. One is right here behind the door here, right there, and the other one is right here, just over from the toolbox. There is one on the wall here, but it's not a plugin that was installed with the garage. It was added in afterwards by the previous person that owned this house, you know. I have wired in a security light myself, which has been working fine for, I don't know, probably the last 6 years. And yeah, so basically what I'm looking at is a little bit of electrical upgrades, a little bit of lighting upgrades, because there's no point in having a shop you can't see in. And you know, building a tool room. Of course, having these cupboards up on the walls. Through my calculations here, I have some base cabinets. I believe there might be 8 feet or so of base cabinets, and probably 10 feet or so of uppers. And then I have these random mismatch base or upper cabinets here that might end up in this garage, or they might end up in the laundry room downstairs for a winter project, or you know, maybe they'll end up on Kijiji. But that's pretty much the plans for the garage reno. It's probably going to be a 2 chapter, if you will, reno with several parts to each chapter, you know, like the tool room, you know, part 1, tool room part 2, you know, and then once the tool room's done, we can come out into the work area here and do the other half. The tool room itself will be the complicated one because of the cabinets needing to be hung. Out here in the main area, it's pretty much just a few new plugins and you know, a little bit of work on the ceiling with the lighting, because that's going to be the whole garage wide. The ceiling is going to get dropped, and you know, pretty much kind of see how the project unfolds from there. I'd like to wrap the project up by changing out this garage door. Right now she's the old school one-piecer garage door. However, I have been told if I install a new garage door in this garage, I will lose overhead on the door height. So much more overhead on the door height, and I won't be able to get the vehicles in here at all if I ever do need to get them in here to do work on them. So we'll have to play that one by ear. There is a kit you can buy that's like a low overhead kit, or I forget what the fancy name is, but pretty much it goes up, and as soon as it goes up, it starts to turn quite sharply, where the ones that you see in most garages go up a little further and make a gradual turn. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Of course, guys, like any project that anybody ever does, or at least what I seem to do is with my projects, is they tend to take on their own, if you want to call evolution, they take on their own shape. They change as you go along, and things, different ideas come about, different, so it'll be interesting to see how this project takes shape, and if it really does, you know, turn out the way I've got it in my mind in the finished project, or if it ends up being a little different. But guys, like I said, this has been just a little bit of a what's in my head kind of going on a video, so you guys can see what I'm thinking. So as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.